Here's how to give Photoshop text a shiny metallic effect. To start off, create your text, make it the size you want, the font you'd like, and try to use fonts that aren't too strangely shaped so that the effect can look nice. So to start off with, you click your text, you add an effect, and you go bevel and emboss. The numbers are going to vary depending on the size of the font, and you can adjust it to your liking, but for me, I'm setting the depth to 594 and keeping the size at 10, and we're not going to touch the soften at all, so that stays at 0 the entire time. The gloss contour is the one we're going to use, and for the screen, the highlight, I made the opacity 80, and for the shadow, it's going to be 23, and in addition, I made the white a shade of yellow, like a yellowish white, and the dark a dark shade of brown so that it wasn't as harsh to look at for my lettering because I want it to be gold, but you can adjust that depending on the color you want, or if you want to keep it black and white, then you can leave it the same as it is. From there, we're going to press OK, and now we have our base, so we're going to duplicate this layer we just made. And one of the most important parts is we go to Fill, and we set that to 0. And then we go into the effects of the duplicated version, and we go back to Bevel and Emboss. And for the second layer, depth is going to be 105, size is going to be 20, soften still stays at 0. For the highlight, 55, and for the shadow, we're going to bump it up to 64, which will look like this. And now we're going to add a stroke, which is just below the Bevel and Emboss category. We're going to check that. For the size, you can mess around with this. I kept it around like 5 or 6, just depends on how thick you want it. 3 or 4 can also work. We'll keep it at 3 for now. And make sure that the position is on the outside of the text. And it's going to automatically put you on color. You want to switch that to gradient. And how we want to make this is we want to make a gradient with a darker shade of the color on the outside and a lighter version of it on the inside. So for me, because I want to go for this gold, I have a very light gold in the center and more of a darker brown on the outside, and that's what I'm going to do for my stroke. So that'll look like this, and we'll press OK, and then we're going to make a duplicate of the duplicated layer one last time. Again, fill 0. We go back in to Bevel and Emboss. And for this last layer, the depth is going to be 12, the size 64, soften still at 0. Highlight, make it 50, and make the shadow 81. We go back into stroke. We can make the size 2. And keep everything else for that the same, so that should look like this. You can play around with the line thickness and the depth and the brightness and the darkness and however you like to find what best suits your font or just the style that you like. But once we're done with the text, now we have to make our background. Now as you can see here, I decided to add some splatter brush. So I took a splatter brush, I changed some of the scatter effects for it in terms of the axis, and I spread it out a little bit. I just added some light scatter effects along the edges to try and create kind of like a fancy gold glitter-ish sort of effect. And then from there I wanted to add something a little bit more like handmade or something to give it more of a homemade feel. So I took one of the chalk brushes and I made it a bit more dense so that it would not be as see-through. And then from there, I just drew some little sparkles and stars around the edges, and a little space to write your name if you were to send this to someone. And yeah, that's how I created this little cute birthday card or postcard, or however you'd like to use this text, whatever you'd like to use this text for. Hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching.